The White Sox made a deal, right?
Yeah,
Grandal.
Right. They signed Yasmani-Grandal,
Yeah,
4-year.
Did that surprise you?
I thought, yeah. Well, not really, because they tried to go big last year with Machado or Harper and missed. And they went, right. They hit early this winter and got, the best catcher on the free agent market.
He's a two-time All-Star. Didn't hit much, 241, but look at the home runs. 28 home runs last year. His career average 241 last year. He had 246. They got a lot of. It seems to me they got a lot of the same guy, don't they? Chicago.
They've got a lot of good hitters. Les, this guy, can play first base. He can DH. They re-signed Jose Abreu. They gave him a qualifying offer. Then they tore that up and gave him a 3-year offer. They've got Moncada, who went crazy, 315. They've got Tim Anderson, the shortstop, who led the big leagues in batting average.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, and the kid Eloy Jimenez.
Yeah, that's the guy they love.
The outfielder that had a career against the Indians last season.
I thought up until Chicago added some guys here, I thought the Indians. It would be a repeat of this past year, the Indians in Minnesota, with Minnesota losing some guys to free agency, especially pitchers. But now, who's got the power in the AL Central? Let's take a look at Minnesota. They won 101 games. Rocco Baldelli is the manager of the year, and they hit a ton of home runs, 307 to lead MLB, and they hit 270. And without Joe Mauer, you would think that they wouldn't hit as well as they would with Mauer.
Yeah, well, Mauer had turned into a singles hitter.
Right. He was a doubles hitter, became a singles hitter.
Right, and so they bring in C.J. Cron to replace him at first base. Jonathan Schub, Nelson Cruz, who they picked up his option. Cruz, went off like 40 home runs. He had a great season. He's like 90 years old though, and they picked up his option. And they bring Jake Odorizzi back to help that rotation. I think they lost Greg. Kyle Gibson, Texas just signed him today and gave him $30 million. And I thought, Kyle Gibson, come on. But
I would have thought a deal like that would have opened the floodgates, but that hasn't, has it?
No, I mean, but there's been some action. It's been a little more fluid than the last 2 years. The market, I think Atlanta set the tone. They went out and signed a couple of relievers. Will Smith got a big deal from he was a free agent from the Giants. Then they signed their own guy, Chris Martin. They picked up Nick Markakis' option, and they brought in they signed a catcher from Tampa Bay, Denard. So
in all this action, the Indians haven't been involved yet at all.
No, the Indians haven't.
So do you think the Indians' phones are ringing, or do you think they're making the phones ring?
I think it's going both ways. I think, they obviously need some help. They've got to get an infielder. I don't think Kipnis is coming back. They've got to get somebody to play either second or third base. They've got to
What's their preference?
I think, just from kind of the flow chart thing, I think they want to find a third baseman.
So move Ramirez to second.
Let Ramirez play second. Then when Nolan Jones is ready, you just kind of find a stopgap third baseman.
I'm talking about Ramirez now. Is he as good a third baseman defensively as he is second base? Or?
I thought he was a better third baseman. He turned into a better third baseman. When they moved him over to second base 2 years ago and late in the season, he didn't look like the same guy to me. But, everybody swears second base is his best position. I just thought he got a little too big to play the position, and the switch kind of caught him in between.
Right.
But if he has a full spring training and a full off season, to work on, to know where he's going to play, I think he'll be fine.
Okay, so Kansas City and Detroit,
they're out of it.
They're out of it before the first pitch is thrown in spring training.
Detroit lost 114 games, and Kansas City lost 103. Unless John Sherman, their new owner, goes crazy.
I want to talk about that in a moment, but I want to ask you who's the favorite right now as it stands in the Central. You got Cleveland, you got. You've got the Chicago White Sox and Minnesota Twins. All of them can make an argument. Yeah,
I think I'd stay with the Twins. They won 101 games. They're the defending champ. The thing the Indians have going for them that neither the White Sox or the Twins they have starting pitching. And it's solid starting pitching, 1 to 5, and they've got some depth to it.
When you were here last week, not long before you left, you got the word on this Sherman, the new owner of the Kansas City Royals. You and I were kind of surprised by that because we thought, what you thought and I thought was that Sherman was helping infuse some money into the Indians organization. But what it now looks like is not only did he infuse it, now Paul Dolan is going to have to find a way to either sell it or buy it back himself. And that's not good news.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. They put Sherman's shares in a trust.
Okay.
And it's up to Sherman. It's governed by an independent trustee, and it's up to Sherman to find a buyer for those shares.
Which could be Dolan?
Yeah, I guess. No one has said that
Okay.
that if Dolan has the right to buy him back, or if Dolan has, the right of first refusal.
So is this a good deal for Cleveland, or can they make it a good deal, or is it a bad deal?
Well, I think if they find the right minority owner, it's a good deal because that money comes back into the team.
Right. So Sherman gets the 20% share? Is that what he got in the Indians?
It was about 30%.
30% share. And now there's 30% sitting in a trust. And can the Indians touch it in any way?
I don't think so. No. I mean, it's not their money. It's Sherman's money.
There's no Cleveland company or person that I know of, and maybe you do know, that is in position to make that purchase or desire to make that purchase.
Yeah, well, just think how long Dolan looked for a guy like Sherman, and Sherman obviously got into it to buy a team. I think they felt the report came out after he bought, his approval of the Royals, was approved, that he was in line to buy the Indians. That was, that's what.
And we didn't know that was part of the deal.
And that was what the commissioner told the Kansas City Star. So, that was a little new. And obviously, if the next minority owners, if he's going to come in as big as Sherman did, I would think.
They're not paying that kind of money to let Paul Dolan make the decisions.
Right, and you're not getting there to get all the free hot dogs and nachos you can eat.
You mean like Jimmy Haslam did with the Steelers?
That's right. You want to eventually get your foot in the door in that club, that exclusive club, and either buy that club or move on to another club.